G'day guys, how's it going? Welcome back, of course, to the Time Bomb channel, and I hope all is good and excellent in your part of the world. Watch review today of the Duxot or Duxot Bastia DX-2068 Elite Green. Very interesting offering that the brand has kindly sent into the channel for review. You may recall that I reviewed one of their chocolate dial divers a while back. I'll pop up a link up here just in case you want to check that out. Now, the name Bastia, if I'm not mistaken, comes from a coastal town in Corsica. If you've played Total War Rome, you'll probably be able to put it on the map. And as you start to read the history of Corsica, it's kind of a little bit like Malta, and it's one of those Mediterranean melting pots. And I think that the Duxot Bastia is also a mini melting pot of watch DNA, and the concept of integrated sports dress watch will be familiar to many of you. Let's just pause there and zoom in a fraction. All right, so key speckage as always to start with. These retail currently, I think it's £261 if you order direct from the website. I did notice yesterday when I was looking, they've got a 20% discount promotion running on these as we speak. Key speckage then, these are 40 mils across, 14 mils deep, and then a quite reduced 48 mils north to south. So again, some very manageable specs there. Let me just throw it on wrist so that you can see. My wrist is 7¼ inch for reference. And as you can see, obviously integrated bracelet pulls it down quite nicely. And again, flush wise down the pipe. Yeah, I think it looks really very, very classy on wrist. And I think I'll come into one of the reasons why I think it looks so classy, but you can probably tell already, is the fact that they've matted, they've brushed out everything, and then you've just got a couple of little bits of light pinging off certain sections. And I think as a consequence, I think it's the case body and the bracelet and everything like that which contribute to this watch being so good looking. You get sapphire crystal, obviously up top, comes with 100 meters worth of watery standardness. It's got a little bit of heft, primarily in the head. It weighs in at 135 grams, but that's on this unsized bracelet. And as you can see on my wrist again, sorry, let's throw it back up here. You're going to need to take out a fair chunk of links there. This is, as I mentioned before, the Elite Green, but if the green wasn't appealing to you, they do come in several other colors. You've got perhaps what I would refer to as the more standard black. Then that Sunday afternoon dress wear or office wear with the blue dial. And then another option that I spotted here, which I thought was really, really, very fun, was this kind of like dual color combo dial. I thought that one looked just a little bit different and fun. Come into the dial again. So as you can see, you've got several sections to the dial, minute track on the outside, and you've got that sort of square hatching across the center, again, which really does make a huge difference to the way light plays off this. And again, then you've got a ring between the minute track and that central dial, concentric circles, he says, trying to slow down a little bit, concentric circles there. And then they've gone for sort of like a slightly yellowish tint to the hour markers and hands on here, which I think contrasts very nicely with that green behind it. Date window, of course, at the 6. Absolute preferred position on this, because you imagine it at the 4 or the 4:30 being all wonky, and it would just simply destroy the symmetry on this. Yeah, anyway, enough said. You've got a side push pull crown over here. Let's pop that one out there, and the action on it is smooth and decent, not too much wiggle. There's just a tinsy bit of a wiggle there on the seconds hand in some positions, and not too bad for £200. And then sorry, I can't never see through the camera when I'm doing this. One day I'll learn not to do that. You've then got, winding action there. Moving on swiftly. The website, however, does indicate that they just call it a Japanese movement. And I would strongly recommend to the brand that they reconsider that and they tell us exactly what the movement type is, because many of us really want to know what's buzzing away inside. And I think that was my similar feedback on the chocolate diver. So again, really would look forward to seeing that change and upgraded. The case body from the sides, very, very smooth. Lovely, lovely polishing, brushing on the sides there as well. As I say, drops down into that there. The fit there into the integration there is decent. There's a little bit of a mismatch on the brushing, but it's not massive. You've then got, obviously, you can see they're drilled lugs. You don't need me to tell you that. These screws are real. They're not false, so they do actually anchor that into the top. And then, as I say, you've just got that high polishing there, apart from fingerprints on that bezel bit there. And again, I think, as I said before, that's what just makes it work, because it's brushed across everywhere. It just makes it, a little bit more understated. And imagine if they'd done it the reverse, that everything here that's brushed now is highly polished, and I think it would just look way too blingy. So the crown nestles decently there. There's a slight cutout there where the crown sits into that. Integrated bracelet as well, fits well. You do get a little bit of spacing there, but probably necessary with that articulation. You notice that you got quite a severe taper from 25 mils down to 15 on the bracelet, so it really does drop down a lot. You do get the clasp butterfly on here, which is kind of standard on this type of watch. But because they've shrunk it so much as it gets down to the clasp here, the sections of the bracelet do get quite small, so it should be very easy to size. And you just got single pins, push pins in there. I really wish they were screws, but anyway, that's just me. On to the case back, and it's pretty flush. Just the logo there and branding and specs details around there, but it is obviously screwing back. So again, should extra resilience and robustness. Anything else that I wanted to say? Yeah, the green. The green is showing okay in this light, but I have found that I've got lots of light shining on it at the moment. I have found when I've been sort of like looking at it on the desk, and there hasn't been that much sunlight about. It is a very, very, very deep green, and I'm wondering if they couldn't have just lightened it up a fraction, because it's probably too dark for my preference. You get it out into the sunlight, you can see how it shines and it shows its best side. I think it looks very cool, that green, but sort of most of the time when you're inside, it could almost be black. And I think, they should have just lightened it a fraction. I like, though, that Duxot are confident when putting colours on watches. And again, I think, you get a lot of variety in the different ranges. So again, you can pick and choose. Overall, I think they've done a very good job on this one. It's certainly priced to sell. And hopefully they can get the specs on the website updated with the movement and things. As I say, this one's been lent in for long-term review, so I'll be wearing it for several months, beating it up a little bit and telling you how it holds up. Oh, hang on a minute, I forgot. There is lume on here as well. It seems to be a lot stronger on the hands than it is on the hour markers. It's okay for your basic night maneuvers. Nothing too serious though, because it will need regular charging up if you want it to shine. Again, huge thanks to the guys over at Duxot for sending this one in, and thanks to you guys as always for your time and for your view, and we'll catch you in the next watch vid. Cheers now.